Every project starts with an idea, or rather, ideas. It's important not to rush into things with just one version of your idea because that may bias you from the start to go down a dead end path. Businesses evolve over time, and while your core idea may be right, the details are likely going to change. So it's better to think of a few parallel versions of your idea or slight differences in the details to keep your options open. Think of your core business idea as the trunk of a tree with different branches stemming from it. Just like a tree, the branches that are doing well will grow, and the ones that aren't doing well will shrink and fade away. And regardless of what kind of business you want to build, there are standard topics that you need to consider, which are taught in business school or used in classic startup frameworks. Filling out your business idea across these core topics will help you form your overall business strategy. Things in terms of your market, the solution you're offering, how you're going to sell and market that, and of course, how you're going to build a business around it, are all gathered in your intelligent business. So let's get started on an idea. I basically have a need for a canopy attachment for my paddleboard. When I'm out on the water, the sun is just too intense and it really limits how much I can enjoy my time out there or even how long I can sit. So I basically gave it a one sentence version of my idea and it mapped out a bunch of topics and ideas across it. If we click into one of these, we'll notice it came up with a bunch of ideas. So one is prolonged sun exposure causes sunburn and heat exhaustion. Another one is I have to keep applying sunburn, so it repeats my session. And there's cancer risk if I get too much UV exposure. So I've already gone ahead and filled out the rest of the table, but it's important, I think, to think a bit about the idea layout here, or the underlying data architecture. These ideas are actually possibilities. We have no real notion of whether or not they're the actual thing that's going to work, right? So Siift actually labels them with 0 confidence score as basically pure assumptions to start. And then as we'll get into in the validate phase, we'll take actions to get feedback or do research to essentially boost the score and add more credibility to ideas. And the powerful thing about that is we'll find that some of these ideas seem more promising or more supported by the feedback we're getting than other ideas. And those ideas will float to the top. They'll have higher confidence scores, and that'll essentially help us to manage what's working and what ideas are not working, and essentially focus on the branches that are actually growing. As you go through, you'll notice that different topics highlight different ideas, and that's the dependency tree or the logic. So the features that we have, for example, depend on all these other things that are highlighted. So does the text strategy, the channeling depends on these things. And so as you work your way and fill out your table, you'll get more specific and more relevant suggestions or ideas filled out through them. And you can even ask the system, hey, I have an idea for a channel. Does this kind of make sense or match what my, let's say, audience is? Because audience is a core dependency topic of channels. So as you fill out this strategy canvas here, you will be able to get a much broader and more coherent sense of your overall business idea. And you can actually then start to manage those ideas in later phases, not just for validating, but for things like building out a website or your product, as well as going to market and trying to sell it. So yeah, you can keep filling out the table either by asking for suggestions like I did here, or manually adding your ideas either through the chat or even directly on a specific topic, or you can upload files, connect your Drive or Notion or other apps, or just even feed it a website that you've already built and have it extract ideas for you that way. This way you can jumpstart your project and make sure it's giving you a holistic, strategic way to think from the get-go.